What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com. In today's episode, we're going to be talking all about supplements. Are they beneficial? Is it just a bunch of hype? Like, what's the deal about supplements and if you should be taking supplements? Now, before we get started, because there definitely are a handful of supplements that, in my opinion, will aid in better fat loss results, will aid in better performance. Obviously, there's supplements for joint pain. There's supplements galore, right? There's a supplement for everything. But what there's not a supplement for, okay, is simply, hey, take this pill, powder, or potion, and within 6 weeks, you're gonna, have six-pack abs, crazy amounts of testosterone, and probably like marry that hot, blonde babe on the beach, whatever. Like, you can't find that, okay, because it doesn't exist and it will never exist. So let's break up today's podcast into kind of like the background of like supplements and most importantly, like the marketing behind it. And then let's go lastly into, in my opinion, some of the best supplements that you should be taking to not just aid in better fat loss results, but just to have better performance. Whether you're working out, whether you just want to have more energy, to play with your kids, whatever the case may be, that you feel like is the definition of performance. And then let's talk about, the BS supplements that are going to do a great job at doing one thing, and that's just taking away your hard-earned money. I know a lot of people that spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month on fat loss pills and all these different supplements, and yet they always look the same. So hear me out. Let's go right back to the back of like what we should be talking about, the meat and the bones, right? The truth about supplements. And, are they beneficial? Yeah, they definitely are. There's a handful of them. But remember, you can't take a special pill, powder, or potion and expect to look like that person that you want to look up to, that you see, as your favorite athlete or favorite celebrity or movie star, whatever the case may be. You got to put in the work. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to the supplement industry, there is you hear me out. You want to know the definition, terminology of the word marketing? It's the supplement industry. It does such a fantastic job at promoting and preaching about supplements. And I will say that there's probably at least 60 to 70% of them out there, as far as products, companies, brands, complete bogus. Honestly, complete bogus. I actually, right, funny story, tried to create my own supplement company or whatever supplement business. I was going to have that as like a little branch off with Heartletics. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is great. Like let's, sell some supplements at the same time we're helping guys burn body fat. And I realized here, like, that just went completely against what I preach, honestly. And then the supplement industry, the one thing that I didn't like about it is like anybody could get into it. So at least the one product or the one thing that I found, it was kind of like a white label, where basically they had their own formulas and you kind of pick and choose like all these different ones, put your own logo on it, put your own name on it. It looks awesome from a business perspective idea, but I didn't like that, right? Because like if I'm going to create something and I don't really, have anything to say with what's going in, the ratios, all that stuff, that's not my product, right? That is me just putting a label on something. And so I cut that idea out and I said, we don't really even want to preach about that. Like, we don't want guys join our coaching program and we talk about how personalized this is. And then we're just feeding them supplements and, all this stuff down their throats. Like, that's not fair to the consumer, right? Somebody that signs up for our coaching program, if we're trying to make it all based around their lifestyle, which it is, right? So we want to make sure we're walking the walk, not just talking the talk. But also, like I said, from at least somebody like myself, I want all, like, if there's a problem, right? Well, let's say a supplement or whatever, I want to be able to fix it. Like, I like having that authority. I like having that ability to do that. With how I was going to do things with this supplement, you can't do that. Okay. At least that for that white label, whatever. I'm sure there's obviously, you can go contact a manufacturer and, talk to him and all that stuff, but I don't want to go that route. Okay. When it comes down to supplements, all right, this is coming from also somebody that's sponsored by, First Form. They sponsor Heartletics. So if you're a Heartletics member, like, we do have like supplement links, like affiliate links. And like, here's the thing, like right now we're doing this amazing step challenge, so like the prizes of like the gift cards, the apparel, that stuff for all the winners and contestants. Well, guess what? like we just pull from the money from the supplements, off the commissions off of that. So it's not like we're trying to say, hey, you need to take this, because you really don't. When it comes down, and hear me out from somebody that's a certified nutritionist, certified trainer, strength and conditioning coach, right? I've been taking supplements for years. There is so much false advertisement when it comes to supplements. Okay. You can see somebody that's like, I don't know, taking XYZ products. Let's say this glass of water here is just a glass of fat loss drink. Okay. So this fat loss drink, if I have a crazy before and after photo, right? And I say, hey, I got like this by taking like this, why don't you have it too? Here's my, whatever coupon code to save 20% off, and I get a kickback. I bet you anything that person that got that amazing transformation, one, they probably didn't even take that supplement. And two, you got to understand here, you can't just take something and expect your life to change and transform. And this goes also into the medications that maybe you guys are taking as well. I personally don't know anybody that was, a type 2 diabetic or somebody with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and their doctors recommended them taking this supplement, or this medication, I should say. And all of a sudden, after 6 months of taking that, boom, no more diabetes, no more blood pressure, no more cholesterol. No, it's nothing more than a band aid to the gunshot wound. What we see here from most guys that's over 30% body fat and struggle with taking blood pressure medications and cholesterol medications, there's typically a nasty side effect to that. And that's when your A1C levels are then elevated. And then unfortunately, you're type 2 diabetic, or excuse me, your doctor's telling you you're type 2 diabetic, unfortunately. Now, if that's you, honestly, listening to this, come check out the podcast episode. It's actually going to be a live coaching call this Friday coming up, because we're actually going to be talking all about blood pressure, cholesterol, and type 2 diabetes. We have so many case studies and success stories of guys get off their medications. And it's just, we get a lot of people asking us, right? Oh, Joe, I see all these stories. Like, I want to be like Mike Berry. I want to get off my, blood pressure and cholesterol medications and reverse my type 2 diabetes also. Like, what did he do? And at the end of the day, like, we'll just talk all about that on the podcast, because anybody, right, that has the knowledge and the ability to continue to, put in the work each and every day, they're going to get the results to getting off their medications. Now, bringing this back to supplements, since this is what today's conversation is all about, the same thing applies. Mike Berry ate healthy, was active, and he got off his medications. Anybody that wants to look good with their shirts off, right, and like feel good and have more energy, have more confidence, you can't just take a supplement, right, a fat loss drink, some pill powder or potion. Just like Mike Berry, you got to be active, you got to eat healthy. Same thing, right, with the supplements. You got to put in the work. And so with most of these supplements that you guys see out there, right, like I'll tell you this. There's a certain brand out there, and I don't want to say anything like brand name specifically. I can say, hey, I'm sponsored by First Form, but competitors, I'm not going to say anything about that. I will say this, all right, and if you guys want the information, send me over a private message maybe, right? But there is a certain brand out there that if you literally just type in Google protein powder, you're going to see everybody say that that's the number one protein powder to take. That's the number one protein powder to take. That's the number one protein powder to take. Well, guess what? Anybody out there that's like a professional that's, been doing this stuff for several years with not only helping themselves, but changing thousands of people's lives, and you know a lot about supplements, you also know that that certain supplement that everybody recommends has probably the most preservatives in it, artificial ingredients, a bunch of lectins that your body can't even process, and it's like the lowest quality protein powder out there, but yet it's always recommended as number one. Once again, I'm not going to say the name of it. If you want to know, send me over a message. But the reason why it's always recommended as number one is because, let's face the facts. After doing some research and finding out more about this, that supplement company pays out the most commissions. Think about that. So now, if let's say you got all these guys that look great with their shirts off, and you say, hey, X, Y, and Z supplement company is going to pay you 15%, I'm going to pay you 30% of commissions. They go to all these guys promote it. Well, guess what? Who all wins in the end, And it's not the consumer. It's not the person that's buying the products, right? Because at the end of the day, they're almost doing themselves a disfavor by taking something that, once again, is not actually good for you at all if you actually know what's inside of the products, right? So I'm not trying to bash supplements because I take them, and I'll tell you guys what I take. All right. I'm not trying to say that they're the needs, ends all be all. I'm in the middle. I'm neutral. All right. Every time I'm making a podcast episode, I'm just voicing my opinion. I'm going to share with you guys like what works for me, what works for obviously my clients, my coaches, right? Just that's what this Heartletics platform is. Is you guys are just listening in, hearing what like the coaches are doing, what the other clients are doing, and how they're having success. And in turnaround, it's giving you the motivation and inspiration to potentially put the right actions into also getting in better shape for yourself. That's the goal for this podcast, right? Is to help you become the best version of yourself mentally and also physically. So now let's talk more about supplements, all right? Let's talk in terms of, in my opinion, really good supplements to take, and then we'll talk a little bit more about like some of the worst supplements to take, okay? Um, I'll say it like this, because it is, I know people are going to be asking me about brands, all this. When it comes down to taking a supplement, if let's say it's protein powder, because in my opinion, protein powder is the number one supplement that you should be taking. If, and actually, I should say this about all supplements, right? The word supplement, it's just like that, right? You should only be using supplements if it's something that you're missing from your daily diet, okay? Brian Wells, I see that he's tuning in, watching this on the Facebook Live video. He doesn't take as much like protein powder as I do because guess what? He eats a lot of it through wholesome foods, which is great. And I'm always going to be the first one to tell anybody, whether you're a client listening to this, whether you're just somebody that's on the fence having to tune in, if you're able to, let's say, hit your protein goal through wholesome foods, that is so much better for your digestion, so much better for satiation, way better than taking it in the form of processed foods like protein bars, protein powders. Okay. Now, as somebody that religiously eats every single day protein powders and protein bars, am I going to say it's horrible for you? Absolutely not. I'm just going to let you know that it's a lot better to get wholesome foods than processed foods. And you should always look for that route first and foremost, right? For example, like let's say fish oil, great supplements, right? But if you're able to get in, healthy fats elsewhere through your wholesome food, diet, you probably don't need a supplement with it. So here's the supplements that I truly like to take and that I found are beneficial for me, but also are beneficial for our clients as well. Number one, protein powder. Why? Like, let's educate you because at the end of the day, this podcast is all about providing value. Well, I talk about it all the time. I've actually made plenty of episodes about specifically how to hit your protein goal. But long story short, right, when you are, let's say, hitting at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, it's probably going to be in more of your favor to burn body fat. And if you're listening to this, odds are that's your goal. You want to become the best version of yourself mentally and learn how to look your best with your shirt off, right? Burn body fat, build that lean muscle tissue. Protein's going to aid in that. It's higher up on the thermic effect of food. It's more satiating. It's going to help you, build that lean muscle tissue, help you increase your metabolic rate. Focus on having protein. Now, with me, with just how busy I am with being a business owner and everything in between, it's hard for me to sit down and have 3 screw meals and some snacks to hit my protein goal through wholesome foods. So I like to supplement with protein powders and protein bars. It's an easy, convenient thing for me to hit my protein goal. Okay, so the first thing is find something, right? Whether it's protein bars, whether it's protein powders. In my opinion, the number one, supplement to be taken is protein, right? I will just say it like that, protein. The second thing, right, in my opinion, when it comes down to the best supplements that you should be taking is, in my opinion, fish oil. I think it's very beneficial. There's krill oil, there's salmon oil, there's all these different types of oils, and that's very beneficial for just hormonal functions of the body, brain functions as the body, joints as well. I mean, there's other supplements like turmeric. You can take that for your joints, glutamine chondroitin. The list goes on and on. Okay. I'm just telling you guys what I personally like to take because when I'm trying to take a supplement, I want it to do multiple things. Like protein, for example, it is going to help you build muscle. It's going to help you burn body fat, speed up your metabolism. It's also going to make you feel fuller, right? Because it's more satiating, because it's higher up on the thermic effect of food, longer form of digestion. So I like that. And that's why I personally take stuff like that. Fish oil, there's multiple functions of fish oil. It's great for your brain, it's great for your skin, for your overall health, your joints, your heart, everything, right? Um, uh, but hear me out. Even though I take fish oil and I highly recommend it, do you need to take it? Absolutely not. All of these are just recommendations. Okay, all of them are recommendations. Um, the next one I would say is creatine. Creatine, in my opinion, is something that is very hard to get. You can get it from like red meats, different things like that, but it's very hard to get in enough ratio where you got to eat a lot of meat for it to get the full effect in your body. Um, and since we're on the topic of creatine, don't think you need to do this creatine load where it's like every day for 2 weeks, you do 20 grams, whatever. I think that's crazy amounts. In my opinion, if you just stick with 5 grams of creatine, maybe post workout, not even post workout, just on your training days, because you can definitely take it pre workout, post workout. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter at all. I don't want anybody thinking like timing matters with anything, whether it's food intake, whether it's supplements, it doesn't matter at all. Okay. So creatine, if in case you guys didn't know, it just helps out with more ATP function, so more energy purpose, especially if you're in the gym. I would say if you're working out at home, you might not need creatine, honestly. But don't think of also ATP functions as having more energy in a form of like taking an energy drink and you feel it, or hey, this is going to be a great boost of like caffeine dose. Let me just have, creatine. Absolutely not. It does not work like that. You're not going to feel that stimulus effect, is what I'm trying to say. It's just going to help you with a few extra reps in the tank. Um, and like I said, specifically when you're in the gym, that's the prime time you should be, taking creatine. If you're working out at home, if you're not focused on progressive overload, I wouldn't worry about taking creatine. So those three supplements, those are, in my opinion, like some of the best supplements to take. Now, there are a handful of great supplements that's also in that mix. I mentioned about First Form, how they sponsor me, in Heartletics. They have a great supplement called Ignition. Now, if you're a type 2 diabetic, I recommend not taking Ignition. Okay, I highly recommend that simply because Ignition's job is to spike your insulin. And I know people are thinking like, oh, that's horrible. Like, and if you ever look in the back of Ignition, it is nothing but sugar and vitamins and minerals. And somebody's going to be thinking to themselves like, oh, that's the worst thing in the world to be taking. Like, why would you be taking that? I'll put it to you this in the easiest way. If you get finished having a very hard workout and all you're having is a protein shake, think about that like being a little garden hose, with just a little bit of water coming out, helping the recovery process of that muscle, right, to build it bigger, leaner, stronger. Now, taking Ignition, okay, it's going to spike your insulin. Think about that little garden hose being amplified to, let's say, a fireman hose. So you're going to get obviously more of that recovery process in a faster time. And a lot of people, they just get stronger. And it's because of the recovery is a lot quicker. It just aids more. There's a lot of good benefits to taking Ignition. I don't have a link anywhere unless you guys want more information on that. Just send me over a message. Like I said, they sponsor Heartletics. We do have affiliate links. I'm always going to be upfront with everybody about that. But it's a great supplement. So if you're somebody that's in the gym, I highly recommend taking that post workout. Other things, Sleepy Time Tea is a supplement, and I think that's a great supplement. Why? Because if it's going to help you get to sleep faster, and then all of a sudden you go from 5 hours of sleep to, let's say, 8 hours of sleep. Now you got more testosterone. Now you have more lean muscle tissue. Now you're burning more body fat. Guess what? That little tea bag that you put in and have every night, Sleepy Time Tea, great supplement. Okay, ashwagandha. If that helps you lower your stress levels down, so that way you can burn more body fat effectively, great supplement. The list goes on and on. Turmeric, as I mentioned, glucosamine chondroitin. There's so many different things. If you're sick, right, like zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, the list goes on and on. Okay, there's tons of different vitamins and minerals, supplements that you guys can be taking. But hear me out, and I will gladly say this continually on and on and on. Right, two of the biggest takeaways that I want you guys to understand from all of this is one, you don't need supplements. All right. If it aids you where it's convenient for you to take and it helps you, great. Do not think that by taking a supplement, you're going to instantly look good with your shirt off and burn body fat. If we're looking at overall triangle, right, like right here, like almost like a pyramid, that foundation, that building block is probably going to be your calories. And then it's going to be your macronutrients. And then it's going to be probably your strength training. And then obviously like the sleep, the recovery, the needs, the hydration, the stress, all of that. Supplements, guys, are at the very top. The 1% to 2%. That's the difference that it's going to make. Don't think it's going to be the end all be all. So I want you to understand that. The second thing is do your own research. Just because like I'm in good shape and I help thousands of guys get in great shape, do your own research. Like find something that works good for you. It has, good reviews. It's a great brand, right? It's not like it's like artificial or crap like that they're putting in and it's just at a cheap price. Because I will say this, right? And any investment that you're doing something to your body, whether it's buying supplements, right? Whether it's buying coaching programs, whether it's buying a course where you're trying to learn something a little bit more, the best program, product, service is always the least expensive because there's not that hidden cost of, oh, well, these supplements, right? Like this one's cheap, this one's cheap, this one's cheap, but I got to take all these in order to get this full effect of this one supplement, right? Like it's usually less expensive, but that's just the psychology of the buyer, right? You're buying three things, you're getting it for basically like the same price of this one thing. So mentally, you're like, oh, it must be a lot better. I'm getting the better effects because I'm taking all three. Trust me. It's the same thing with fitness coaching, right? We got guys that's like, oh, you don't sell meal plans that are cookie cutter and PDF workouts that's only a couple $100. Like you're actually coaching tailorized. Oh no, man, I can't afford that. Like I'm just looking for the cheap stuff. But then what happens? You waste your time, you waste your money, you never get the results you're looking for. So do your own research when it comes to supplements, any investment within yourself. Do your own research firsthand. That's your right as a man, honestly. Because at the end of the day, like you should be prioritizing yourself first and foremost, and you should expect only the best for you. Why would you want to go take some crap? Like I would, if I'm putting something in my body, it's like a tattoo, right? Would you want to go ahead and get a tattoo from a crappy artist that's $20 behind the alley? Or would you actually want to go to a professional? That's, yeah, there may be a couple $100 for an hour, but what is the work that you're going to get that's on the rest of your body? Like, that's what I want you guys thinking about when it comes to anything, when it comes to purchasing something for yourself. Always go the best route because it's going to be cheaper in the end. There's no hidden costs. Okay. The cost of inaction, that's also huge, but we're not here to talk about that. The main reason why I'm talking about the cost and different things because I want you guys to understand marketing and how big it is inside of the supplement company, okay? Inside of the supplement industry, I should say. There are tons of brands that spend billions and millions of dollars on marketing, Facebook ads, right? Like all these people. It's so easy for me to say, hey, sir, come over here. You're in really good shape. Do you have like a picture of you when you weren't in shape? And he's like, oh yeah, I got this one from like 3 years ago. Oh, sweet. Hey, can I pay you a couple $100 to just stand here in front of this camera and like say something like, oh, I joined this coaching program and I started taking these supplements. And I started looking like this. Any random person is going to say yes. They're going to want that money, right? So like, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys is don't get fooled into the marketing. Don't get fooled into all the hype. Find a supplement that aids you in, once again, performance, whatever your goals are, building muscle, burning body fat, whatever the case may be. And if it makes you feel good, when you feel a difference, right? And it's something that you're not living off of, like some of these places, like, I'm not going to say it, but you take 2 shakes a day, right? And then a small meal for dinner. Well, guess what? Like, that's horrible. And then you're basically only getting the protein shakes that they supply to you. No, like you should learn enough about nutrition, understand like that's your foundation. That's where it all is going to stem from. And don't get sucked into the marketing, right? Don't get sucked into, believing you have to take these or anything like that. You don't. You don't have to take any of this stuff. Now, before we close, I did mention though, right? Like, hey, I had a few top supplements, which I got shared with you. The top ones for me, obviously, this is just me, okay? This is not my clients. This is not my coaches. This is just personally from me. Protein powder, fish oil, creatine monohydrate. What are the worst supplements? Well, let's dive into that because typically who we help out is guys in their 40s to 60s. Most of them are over 30% body fat, and they think like, oh man, I got some low testosterone because I'm fat and out of shape. So I'm just going to start popping some test boosters, right? Get them on Amazon for like $15, right? Here's the reality. It's just like drinking coffee, okay? which means that, hey, when you first had a cup of coffee, you were wide awake as soon as you had it, right? And then all of a sudden, you could probably drink a whole pot of coffee now and fall asleep right afterwards. It's the same thing with test boosters. Eventually, you start taking them, you're going to build up immunity. Your body realizes, like, oh man, like I don't need to produce this testosterone of myself naturally because I'm getting it in orally or injections or TRT, whatever the case may be. So it works when you're taking it, but then it hit that plateau, right? And then it stops, and then you stop taking it because you're like, oh, I'm not seeing any more results. And then what happens? Right? Your testosterone just continues to plummet. The best way, in my opinion, and at least this is what always helps out our guys get off their medications, increase their testosterone, is focus on burning the body fat, right? You don't need to take a fat loss supplement because, in my opinion, like that, which is the second one, testosterone boosters, which is the first one, and some other things out there, you don't need to take that, right? You can go for a walk. You can drink plenty of water. You can do the 7 essential fat loss habits that we talk about at Heartletics and just go download the free guide and watch the free coaching video and actually learn how to do all that, apply to your lifestyle. And I'm going to save you so much more money because at the end of the day, like you just got all this free information and you didn't need to go buy this supplement with this placebo effect in your mind, thinking that it's the best thing in the world because you have that shiny light bulb or the shiny light syndrome, whatever, shiny new toy. So remember, don't get fooled in all this. So number one, if you think that taking testosterone boosters is going to help you increase your testosterone, I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, man, but you're just going to make things a lot harder for you. The second thing is fat loss pills. A fat loss pill is nothing more than caffeine, green tea extract, some black pepper in there, some cayenne, whatever the case may be. It does nothing more than just like, yeah, I guess it's a fat loss pill because if you think about it, it's just hyping you up. You're getting energy from it. Well, hey, if I'm getting energy and I'm moving around, going for walks because I'm not tired, I'm burning more body fat. It's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. You want a natural fat loss pill? Go for a walk, right? That's my opinion, way better to take than a stupid fat loss pill that does absolutely nothing, okay? Now, if for some odd reason, like it wakes you up, you like that, you'd rather take that than let's say coffee or like pre-workout or I don't know, let's say energy drink, then take it. Like, sure, like whatever gives you that stimulus to get up and moving, it's going to be okay. But in my opinion, I think they're kind of bogus and they're a waste of money. And the last thing that I think is a big waste of money is BCAAs, right? Branched chain amino acids. L-leucine is like the only branched chain amino acid that your body does not actually produce on its own. So, like the other two, you're getting that within your body through wholesome foods and everything. I wouldn't even stress about it. Trust me, right? All of this supplements and everything that you can take, you do not need to buy a company, have its supplies come from a company. You can get all of this stuff naturally through wholesome foods. Okay. Maybe the thing that you're listening, if you think that, hey, I need to know these recommendations on like a certain supplement to take to burn body fat, maybe the biggest thing that you're missing is just knowledge. And that's most of the time, knowledge and accountability is why most people fail at reaching their goals. If somebody educated you on proper knowledge on knowing how to eat to better serve your body type, your lifestyle, your taste buds, food preferences outside for your lifestyle, whether it's out to eat, whatever the case may be, if you had that knowledge, you wouldn't need supplements, right? Because you'd be able to implement that. Same thing with accountability, right? If you had people that was in your corner helping you and just making sure that you're doing the right things, like you don't need to, hey, I got to go buy this, I got to go do this. No, you just need people supporting you and not giving up on you and your goals to make sure that you're doing the right habits each and every day to achieve your goals. That's what accountability is. And guys, as we wrap things up here to an end, I hope you guys got some value. The biggest takeaway from today is just don't get wrapped up into supplements. You don't need them, right? Trust me, you don't. And then at the end of the day, there's a lot of marketing behind it. Do supplements work? Absolutely. There's some great ones. There's some not great ones. Plain and simple. Do what works best for you. At the end of the day, this is your body. No one's going to hold a gun to your head and say, hey, you need to take this. And if they're telling you that, odds are they're probably not going to be your friend or looking out for your best interests. So guys, I hope you guys got some value. This has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com. And as always, I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. And be sure to check out the next episode coming up on Friday as well, because that is where we're going to deep dive into blood pressure, cholesterol, and also type 2 diabetes. So if you're somebody that's struggling with your medications, definitely check out that episode coming up here in the next few days. Peace out, Girl Scout.